Hello everyone, my name is Lacey and welcome to the Attractive Japan YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about the hot topic of travel in Japan during coronavirus. So as a foreigner living in Japan, I know there are two sides. There are some people that are very excited to get out and travel with all of the campaigns going on, to go to travel, to go to eat. And I know there are people that are very against this, that are worried about coronavirus increasing because of these campaigns and that are worried about going out for themselves. As I work in the travel industry, I wanted to give some insight on both of these things. So the biggest factor is it safe to travel? And the answer is yes and no. It really depends on the person, the place, and what you're doing. So of course there's always going to be a higher risk as you travel to the cities. So if you decide to take a trip to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, there are more people and there's just a higher chance as there are more cases and clusters in these areas. But at the same time, if you travel to rural areas, there's much lower chance of getting infected. And that being said, you know, at the end of the day, it's really your choice. Do you want to travel? Are you willing to take the risk? While it's scary after being shut inside, you know, for almost the entire 2020, staying inside the whole time can be really hard on your mental health. So, you know, a lot of people are looking to travel, and I think that's okay. If you want to travel, here's my advice. Think about the place that you choose. Do your research well. If you're going to do an activity, research. There are so many options and different levels of coronavirus prevention being utilized. Quite honestly, they haven't been, well, the government hasn't been giving a lot of instructions to places outside of restaurants. And so some places aren't really sure and they do just throw a bottle of hand sanitizer out and call it a day. On the flip side, other places are being super careful and, you know, they've got their masks, they take the employee's temperature every day, they take every single customer's temperature, they limit the amount of people. Some tours are only doing private groups, so, you know, it's really up to you. Because I work in the travel industry, I have traveled a little bit during this time, and you know, when I go to the countryside, I feel safe. When I travel in Gifu, or when I travel in the countryside of Hiroshima to places like Yuki, I don't feel worried. But you know, when you get on a crowded train, maybe in Tokyo, you know, you've got to use common sense, and at the end of the day, it's your decision on what you want to do. But that is my advice, you know, do your research. There are places that make it quite safe. So at the end of the day, it's your choice. I also wanted to cover some questions. Before I decided to film this video, I went ahead and asked on our social media channel any questions and worries that any of you guys living in Japan have about travel during coronavirus. So I'm gonna pull out my handy notes here. And so I had someone ask, when are the domestic flights going to be reduced? And this is really about supply and demand. So right now there is not a ton of supply with flights, and with Go To Travel there's quite a demand. So I mean, I don't work in the air industry, so I'm not quite sure. I got another question about how is the tourism industry tackling this situation, and as I said before, you know, really strengthening the coronavirus measures, limiting the number of people per tours, making sure proper cleaning is done in between tours, taking customers' temperatures, taking employees' temperatures, using hand sanitizer, using masks. You know, if you do all of these things, you know, travel becomes a lot safer and very doable. I went to a mask making in Hiroshima, and they limited, I think they told me, to 3 or 4 people, or they're only taking private groups, and I did it with just me and my coworker, and we made our mask, we had our temperature taking. It felt very safe to me, and I've been luckily safe so far. Another question I got was, when will the travel situation become normal again? And as a person that loves to travel, trust me, I really want it to become normal again too, but honestly I don't think it will until either corona subsides or a vaccine is produced. So fingers crossed for vaccines soon, right? So a lot of foreigners have been confused because while the government and media is saying stay at home, be safe, they are also promoting travel. And the reason they are promoting travel so hard is because the economy really depends on it. Japan doesn't have a lot of young people, you know, the aging population, so they really depended on the money from travelers coming into the country, and because that was cut off, they now need people inside the country to travel to kind of keep the economy moving. So it's the balancing game of safety and economy that they are trying to play, and you know, depending on who you ask, are they playing it well? You know, is anyone playing it well? But yeah, and right now Japan has been starting to open up the country to allow foreigners in with the visas and things, but they still do require 2 weeks quarantine. And even they require this for Japanese people as well. One of my co-workers that came from England, he's Japanese, he had to stay in his hotel for 2 weeks, so just beware of that. But anyway, that is the situation in Japan right now. Travel is doable and it's quite safe as long as you do your research. Luckily on our website we have the coronavirus prevention methods that each tour has available, so you can see what's available. And always, if you have any questions from our site, from any site, ask. Most people are open to answering questions, and it's just better to ask than to be worried. So but anyway, check out our website if you have any questions or comments or worries about travels in Japan that you'd like me to respond to. Leave them down below. I would be happy to answer. And if you want to check out our Hiroshima video or our Tokoname video, check those out, and I will see you next time.